Welcome back, fellow armchair generals. This is Gamer1745 here with my continuing playthrough of Hearts of Iron 3 with Black Ice 9. Alright, well, okay, last episode ended with a crash, and that was because as it was saving, I was trying to get it, didn't realize it started to save or whatever, and I tried to have it do other things, and that can crash the thing. I don't think it was an instability problem with Black Ice, really. So, things will be slightly different. We played very rapidly the previous month, so so things will be slightly different. But small ship classes, got that up. Do artillery brigades, get that one approved there. So yes, undersea boat flotilla, we'll rebuild that. We've already dealt with that in previous episodes. Just because the way the engine works, when you load from you do it from a monthly save, a lot of the stuff won't fire. And it's normal time. There we go. And let's deal with that. And do any of these we want? They all want to sell me rare materials, rare materials. I need to slow this down a little bit. There we go. Yeah. No. Turkey, too big. If it was a small one, I would have taken it upon it. This is the thing it was trying. Okay, yes. The Untersea boat flotilla, or Untersea boat Schule flotilla. That's the training school. Okay. And we can expand the school, or not. We're gonna decide to expand the school. And yes, we supported them last time. Yes, we're gonna reorganize the war ministry. Austria, no, we're gonna take that soon. No. Here. Yeah, I see the heavy artillery brigades, but let's get aero engines being researched there. And yes, we walked through that in the previous episode. Guess we're going to support them again. How's the video quality doing on this? Love a report or two from you guys compared to what it was before. Money for rare materials. No, thank you. Okay, what's here? You are in your office pursuing a giant map of Europe when your secretary knocks in. Reich Marshal Goering is here to see you, sir, she says, and before you can even stand straight, the portly Luftwaffe chief enters wringing his hands. I know he is very pleased with the rate of the economic growth, he says, but it has to be reined in soon. Bubbles will burst. He is covered with a sheen of sweat. Sorry, not reading this well. You reassure him that everything is going according to plan. He sees himself out. Okay. So, because we've now hit 400. So what we're going to do here, like I said before, if we got there, let's do this. Let's go back to full mobilization. Okay. Okay, so now we are... I don't think we had any of the negative things happen because it's supposed to be... And the way it sort of... I think that was just a warning. It's supposed to be 450 for 1937 for something to go wrong. So I know we dropped back down quite a bit, but it's only for until the end of the year that we're going to do this. But this should also... Well, reduce that, I think, as well. Okay. The Anti-Comintern Pact. Italy signing of the Anti-Comintern Pact on November 6, 1937, cemented the unity of fascist and Nazi ideologies. This pact emphasized the ideological union of Germany, Italy, and Japan against the spread of communism. By the end of 1937, Roosevelt concluded that the Anti-Comintern Pact between Germany and Italy was aimed at world conquest, while the Munich Agreement in November Kristallnacht convinced Roosevelt that Hitler's aims were unlimited and Nazi Germany could be stopped only by credible threat of force. By late 37, American assumptions had given Orange planning prime importance. Okay, so we can remember now we already have an Anti-Comintern Pact signed with Japan. I mean, that's already covered here. And we have a Rome-Berlin Axis Pact signed with Italy. Now, none of those are giving us... No, not that. The Pact of Steel. So, and then there is the later, I don't think shows up until the Pact of Steel or something. I don't know. It should be the full Axis. I don't know. But so this will move Italy closer to us and set up that. So yes, we will. If you this is, I think, the last sort of dropout. If you want to go to war with Italy, you know, do a world conquest or something, go down this path. But once you're going here, you're locking in that Italy will join the Axis at some point. So we're going to do that. And that point, I think it's right now, Italy, right? Yes. That has moved them close enough to us. You know, when did the Axis get signed? The Rome-Berlin Axis, the Pact of Steel, the Anti-Comintern Pact. It's sort of, to me, you know, just where... Okay, so now we have this. This is early, obviously. And because we've been trading with them, I think is why this is as early as... I have to go in and mod things. We should be getting the Pact of Steel soon. I may have to go in and mod things. Yes, okay, so here we go. We've lost medium popularity. We've got the Pact of Steel, so supplies and research efficiency is going up. I'll go on and look at it sometime. Maybe it just doesn't display until later. I don't know. It's supposed to be there at some point. I know it's supposed to be there at some point once you get Japan in the Axis. Okay, so high popularity is also really good. It's even a better thing, but so many research and other capabilities. Okay, well, let's continue to push ahead with fighter research. All of those. Only one's partial. Italy, give them fuel in exchange for money. Sure, great. Okay, yes, and we had this one before. Well, since this isn't going to be a good deal, let's just grab Voss, whoever he was. Down to level 2. There we go. Because he was both the SSVT Inspectorate and I do believe the head of this Standartener regiment. They often had multiple jobs historically. Yes. Do we have a 134 unit? No, okay. So let's see, where do we want to put some fighters? And let's put them. No, not Old Guard. I don't think we have a fighter command, do we yet? Or no, I think we do have, yes. Leaguer Corps F. We're starting to get through these. Okay, so that's the headquarters staff, and those are 2 more elements. I can go to the bottom. Those will go to the bottom. We'll leave the hipper. Those could go to the bottom. Purpose gets to go to the bottom. Prof Zeppelin is now 30 and it's going to take a long time to build. We'll move that to the bottom. We'll leave that battery there. Okay, that's good. Bowing down to that. Of course, we're using less of this stuff because we have less ICs effectively. Glad they gave that warning. That's a good thing for it. I was watching, but not everyone may be. So once we get into 38, I'm planning on keeping it under 600. Which is obviously a big jump. Okay. Mediation for the Sino-Japanese conflict. Japanese invasion of China violates the Anti-Comintern Pact and will destroy political stability in China. We must fight a common enemy. Communism, Asian affairs don't. We're gonna go with this. Trying to get Japan to like us more, I think. Now the Nazis mostly, again, when I'm talking about more, you know, their not National Socialism and their belief system, there isn't one set of esoteric or occultist beliefs that was, you know, one strict set, I should say, commonly there. Obviously, there's sort of the race, you know, racial superiority and other elements that they shared, but in detail, it varies, and they talk about it, and you know, in letters and things. But they convinced themselves that okay, well, Hitler, and it's definitely Hitler believes, because they even quote him a couple of times, at least quote him in English, but you know, translate him. He believes in world ice theory, if you know what that is. That basically a couple of moons, ice moons, crashed into Earth and created life and everything, I guess. I don't know it in detail, but definitely created National Social or Aryans. Definitely created Aryans, and they sort of had this sort of super Thule civilization. Well, supposedly the Japanese and some of these other, and the Tibetans were sort of like colonial races or something, I guess is how they were trying to say it, from this, in that these were sort of Aryan but lesser Aryan races that were, you know, to rule over some of the other things or something. They were convincing themselves that, and they also were convincing themselves that when the final collapse of Thule happened, colonists moved to those parts of the world and other sorts of things. But they were convincing themselves that the Japanese, maybe the Chinese, but definitely the Japanese and definitely the Tibetans were somehow related to Aryans and superiority or whatever. Commander decision making advance. That is. Now, of course, I know sometimes I may say things that go against whoever, you know, your belief, but, and of course you can believe what you want, and you can believe that science is it's Jewish science, and empirical science is Jewish science. They believe that empirical science is Jewish science and somehow bad and corrupted because it's not this occult science. Yeah, okay. But we can look at the genetic studies that the Tibetans and the Japanese are not related genetically to them. So, you know, I mean, so you can decide to disbelieve science. Now, science is just the categorized systematic study of the world, basically. And it changes all the time because our understanding of the world changes. So it may change in the future. So it's not like, not one of these, it's settled science, we all agree, we all must agree. No, it's just, this is the way our current understanding is. So, and those groups have no genetic or other ties to the Aryans. But the Nazis believed that, and often, like I say, believed without any evidence. There was no evidence and like the Tibetan expedition and other things, they went out to find evidence that agreed with them. And that's sort of where, because they also talk a lot about the Ananura. I'm saying it almost correctly, I think. And their sort of archaeological and other studies. And so they had a conclusion. They knew what their conclusion was. They were just going out to find evidence of that conclusion, and then and twist any other possibly contradictory evidence to somehow fit their conclusion. See, that's sort of the, you have a conclusion like, oh, I don't know, global warming is man-made. Well, let's go out and find evidence that it's man-made. Well, we know there was a mini ice age. We know that, I know you've watched a long time. We know that the Thames River used to ice up for winter, and it doesn't anymore. But it stopped icing up in winter. I think the last one was last ice fair, or frost fair. It was frost fair. Was in 1805. Well, man's industry wasn't that big in that, so we know it's been warming since before then. We've been, at least the northern hemisphere and around this part of the world has been warming, and we know that. But it's not because of man-made, and it was warmer before. It was warmer in the Middle Ages. So I don't know, because they didn't have mercury thermometers, and ice rings are not dependent upon how thick an ice ring is, and dependent on how cold it was. It's how much precipitation went down, and so they can do the yearly ice pact to find some information out. But thicker or thinner ice doesn't mean it's warmer or colder. It just means how much snow comes down. And tree rings that happen just is how much growth there is. There may be more or warmer or colder, but it could be how much water there is, whether it's too much or too little or whatever. So tree rings don't tell you how hot or cold it is. So we don't have solid, scientific, measurable temperatures, but we do have anecdotal as well as observable and scientific, in the sense that grapes used to grow here. They don't anymore. Things like that. So, we do know some of this stuff, but we don't necessarily know how cold it is. So we don't know if we've warmed up in this part of the world up to the medieval warm period. We may still need to warm more to get there, or we may have surpassed it. I don't know. We don't know. So, but we do know that there are massive regional. I don't know if during the mini ice age, if it was warmer or colder in the southern hemisphere. I don't know. I don't know if anybody knows, because I don't know if there's any good enough study evidence around that could tell us that. But in the northern hemisphere, it was a lot warmer. It got a lot colder, a mini ice age, and then it's been retreating. And so that we have that evidence, but they want us to do this man-made stuff. And they want to only look back at the industrial period and current. They don't want to look further back to get any evidence that conflicts with their evidence. So it's a belief that they then search out. What is this for? Cruisers, fire control system for light vessels. Okay. And it's grayed out. So it's that sort of a belief system that the Nazis were trying to use, if you will, scientific or other sorts of methods like archaeology. I don't know if archaeology is a science, actually. But okay, trying to do things that will benefit us sooner rather than later. We can do camouflage designs. Germans had those. Okay, we got high popularity, or we've lost the effects of high popularity. The Pact of Steel. Okay, yeah. This is coded in such a way that on the historical date, if Italy is not a member of the Axis yet, but you've gone down this path, it will force Italy into the Axis. Because of previous events, the Rhone-Berlin Axis, them signing the Anti-Comintern Pact, plus our trading with Italy has improved relations, so we got them earlier. So we've got the Pact of Steel earlier. Or it happened, we got them in the Axis earlier. So this event fires because they are already in. So it's coded to either force them in, or once they're in, then it fires. So this is signing the Pact of Steel. So this is early, of course. So military police has advanced. Here, yeah. Do something else for now with that. Oh, what else? Damage control system for small vessels. Okay, good. Well, let's continue to improve our air power capabilities. Just barely got a part of one, but we'll take it. Build National Center for Defense Research. I'm gonna do the air. I got just my normal. We'll do the single engine aircraft. Try to control our air power and manpower back to the pool from building all those air bases everywhere. Okay, we're on the 3rd of December and we're now at 378. I think it went down to what, 364 or something, so we might have maybe pushed it over 100 or 450 modified, don't know. Okay, Jagdflieger Schule 1. Okay, it cost us a bit, gained some officers, and there's, okay, good, we'll take that. And we have 2 laws. Now I know you can try to influence, you know, increase Nazism in Austria and other things to get them in earlier. But we're not going to do that, and I would recommend not doing that because of this. You don't want to push over 450 before 1938, that is, maybe earlier than historical. Okay, so now this is, before we chose to do this, so this establishes the school, the submarine school. You can see it expanded there. It's already there, but we expanded it, and it looks like we got some more submarines. So now let's, I think, where are these? Yeah, Ludendorff here. So R, hit R, and then there we go. Expand the school, it's even bigger now. So now we have regular U-boats. Maybe that should be the 4th, I don't know. Along with those coastal. Now, of course, if you want to have some out operating a longer range, maybe you want to keep the regular U-boats separate than from the coastal. I don't know. But these will be something of an older design compared to some of the newer stuff, so you might want to keep them a little bit more, you know, operating against the Soviets or other nations who don't have great anti-submarine capabilities. Okay, delegation of the Polish minority in Czechoslovakia gave Prime Minister Milan Hozda their request this is the Polish government, or is the Polish government supporting the Polish minority in Czechoslovakia? If we can get other nations to press Czechoslovakia, it will allow us to take what we want. And this is a Polish governmented support. They want basically this province in Poland. And so it's not just to get minority rights, but they want that, and the Polish government takes that. Okay. Gebirgsjäger Schule Mitwald. Okay. Yes, please. We'll take that. And we got that. Cool. Don't know who we should put in charge of that right now, but that's actually a pretty good fighting unit. We got ski infantry and mountain and pack artillery, so that's great. Okay, spotting advance. We can see things better. And naval bombers. I'm going to rule the sea from the air. Okay, US, yes, we're going to do that. None of these others, I think. Trying to get the US to like us more so we can sell them more supplies. Finland. Okay, yes, you may have some fuel. Okay, battlefield concentration doctrine, or battle fleet, I guess. Battlefield fleet. Okay, well, let's see. We're going to keep doing at least one naval doctrine research, I think. So let's go to one of our few. You know, we're going to build these someday. Well, light cruiser escort role. We'll do that. Improve our light cruisers dashing about. Yes, we're going to improve our relation. We've got a pretty healthy reserve both here. Not that we couldn't improve that. Okay, Argentina will do that. But I'd just like to get to a few thousand more, bigger, much more bigger. Okay, let's look at production here. Okay, those are almost through. We're getting through those. Get into those. Good. We need money, 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 money. No, we don't need your good opinion. We've already got you into the Axis. Well, we don't want to lose it, but... Okay, Ludendorff's funeral. There's Hitler walking in front of the thing. There's him in a coffin. There, he was still sort of propped up by the Nazis. We lose him as one of the political leader possibilities. Yes. No, Japan can't worry about that. Okay, nav ground crew training advance. Good. I'm gonna try to keep most of this stuff here. Tactical air command. Radar we need better. We'll do that. And we've now zeroed out on that, and let's reduce this down to about 5. We're still overproducing, which is good, which is what I want to do, but will just give us more other stuff in production. Finland, we give them money for rare material. Ah, no. No, Austria, we'll just inherit yours soon. Okay. I want to get Romania in. Well, no. So if I don't touch it and just do that, it won't crash on me. Okay, trade offer right now. Global game balance. Okay, good. Artillery more flexible. Great. We like flexibility in artillery. And here. Well, we're gonna let that go. We like artillery flexibility in artillery. Moves faster. That's good. Oh. Okay, so let's see. Let's do, because we're gonna do economic bonus that is a negative for us. So let's start out here with economic spying, which helps our efficiency a little bit, 1%. Then annual national focus, and we're still going to do Reich economics because it's just, you know, 1938, and we're going to build our manufacturing plants. So you see, we get those. Not enough to jump up above, but that's going to be, especially with the heavy industry. Those are all gains. Don't ignore the lose thing. So that'll bump us up considerably. And now that we got that, we'll do this long term, which reduces us down by 5%. And the Brandenburg Commando Unit. Yes. And because we have enough money, and we've gone into a new year, the cooldown's gone down, so we can now do one of those two. Farm mechanization, and I know I'm going to do the railroad one. I really don't even have to look, but just so you can see it. Production efficiency, more supply throughput, or manpower. Manpower is good. We're not that low now. I mean, we're not that high. We're going to get a big bonus once we get the SA reduced down. And it's always good to start now with this, but I'd rather have more efficiency in production and more supply throughput earlier on. So we're going to do that first. But I think I'm gonna wait just a little. I don't know. Let's look at this. Okay, here. Okay, I want to see when we're gonna get the next monumental architecture is the big thing. Monumental architecture, February 26th. Okay, and I don't know if that's going to adjust. Well, let's wait a couple of days because we're also looking at broadcasting too. When are we going to get broadcasting? February 6th. So let's see if it has a day or two to adjust so that it's now calculating within this year, not ahead of a year. We've got high popularity, which gives us more research capabilities. Okay, well, we've gone through a day here. Monumental architecture still 26. Okay, well, maybe we won't wait on that. Yeah, let's do this. Oh, you would like some energy? Okay, we're doing good on energy right now. We're, yeah. Now, also, let's adjust this, but let's come over here now before we forget. And we're going to go back to war economy. Oh, we should have done that before we clicked that other thing. Yeah. That would have been better. We may have done better with that. Wait for a day to go through and we'll see how much that. Oh yeah, Austrian economic miracle. Oh, we need to national recruiting policy. Getting balanced is. Oh, come on. Oh. We're good because we've gone now over to war economy. Now we're at 406, so Austrian economic miracle. Okay, so we've got that. Now we're at 432. These are now under 5 ICs to build. I think we're going to hold out until we get that. Thought this was interesting. The Reich Administrative Procedure of the NSDAP book. So they have all, you know, Germans are highly organized minds, overly organized, or maybe they have a very chaotic minds and they need all this organization to keep them straight. I don't know which it is. But highly organized type stuff. Franz Xavier Schwartz, which is different than the other Xavier guy, but published in the company there. So this is a Schwartz is the national treasurer of the NSDAP. So he's sort of the administrative guy. So this helps on mostly their party organization. And they also printed a bunch of other, not just this book, a bunch of these, but other books and things like this. So cost supplies, all that printing. So you see, I'm sort of kind of doing some of those print, you know, some of the sort of generic things that Black Ice does. I'm sort of doing it tied to different historical realities. Rare materials, I know we need more now, but I want to get more money, so no. Okay, tracks and suspension have advanced. Great. There, so we're going to stop that. Now these are 1939, and so we're going to do medium armor designs first. Well, we must have lost, oh well, my popularity or something. I guess maybe we did. Okay. No, I've covered this before. This Arado flight, found an article about it, thought it was interesting. So, you can sort of see they come down through, this is what I could fit in, you know, from down to Italy through Brindisi, from Benghazi, they fly in one long thing to Gata in India, and then down through here all the way down to Australia and stopping in Indonesia. You saw them earlier in Indonesia. Record flight kind of thing, improves some of the long range capabilities. The research going into all that, bigger fuel tanks, that kind of thing. All those are meant to, I know I've said this before, but not everyone watches every episode or pays attention everywhere. They're meant to improve things, but not such big jumps. Just, unless it's some major thing, I think it, you know, that merits it, but mostly just minor little benefits. You still need to research the stuff, because it's why, say, Germany's pushing ahead of Romania and Hungary, which are, you know, or even Austria or Czechoslovakia. Czechoslovakia was pushing ahead on a lot of things. They're a good comparison on arms production. They had some really good fighters being produced, but they just didn't have the breadth and capabilities of Germany. Even they didn't. So we're getting back to getting things under control. And now we've jumped up a lot. Stuttgart, Nuremberg, you can see all those. Okay, now we got a lot of other stuff in production, but I want to quickly, I think, check a few of these. If we have a few of these that are with some heavy industry that I can still build on, haven't maxed it out, I want to push there because those are multipliers. Often, as you see, just one, but still one is, you know, I think, what is it, like a 10% multiplier? Now that's a 3, so that would be, what, 30% or something multiplier. I'm not exactly sure of the math. I know it 3 times 10%, but I'm not sure if it works quite that way or what it is. So we do these guys here. I think we checked all of the ones out. So, but now since we have a lot of extra ICs, extras, and not producing other ICs, let's move all these guys up to the top. And that will keep, won't push any of the other ones that are nearly done out of production queue. They're actively being produced. That might fit. A lot more upgrades. No, I want more money. Want more money. Unless it's really small and an ally or future ally that I want kind of guy, I'm not gonna buy anymore. We can take the hit for a little while. Spain is just, no, they broke out by one province. I found this was interesting. This is Milan Stoyadovic, this guy here. A diplomatic visit to Berlin. That's Constantine. Oh. Sorry about that. Constantine von Neurath. This guy here. Come up in diplomatic. He's the prime minister of Yugoslavia, as you can see here, to Germany. But we saw earlier he and Mussolini were getting together a lot. This is Germany, but this was an interesting thing. This is a sort of menu with table plan for one of the evening's banquets that somebody, I think it was a woman or somebody, went around and got a bunch of signatures from a bunch of the people and near where they sat, autographs. So I thought that was sort of interesting. But this improves our relations with Yugoslavia that we're doing. Because remember, Germany gets Yugoslavia into the Axis. Historically, we normally don't wait for that to happen and then for them to leave. Okay, Argentina 10, that's big. Italy, that's big. That's big enough that we don't need. Okay, the Reich Chancellery. Now this is the right photos for this thing. So Speer is ordered to build the Reich Chancellery. And get it done fast, too. Not take years. Get it done fast. So, you can see the plans for it there. Remember, Speer is just sort of the Reich architect. Sort of the national architect, sort of Hitler's pet architect. He isn't yet a minister, like he becomes a minister of armaments. He isn't, really so much of a government post or a party post. I don't know exactly how you want to say it. It is to some degree, but it isn't a big heavy government running large government departments. He's building this, building that, building developments for the stadium. Okay, 24 centimeter guns. You can say no to this. Supplies metal. Yeah, we'll do this one. We're going to do some of them. I'm sort of vaguely hoping for about half, because last time we didn't need nearly all of them, and they're sort of expensive. Not that we can't find a use for them, but okay, supply productions have advanced. Okay, good. We're going to stop that. Something else is... oh, gasoline engines. Okay. Well, sort of says we should move over to here to build light armor and heavy armor. Anti-tank weapons have advanced. Okay, that's good. I'm getting through the infantry. Upgrade channel there. Armored cars. Yeah, let's do armored cars. Start research. And what is the other one that's too far ahead? Yeah, didn't I stop infantry anti-tank weapons? Oh, I stopped support weapons. Yeah, there we go. Okay, that's right. We want to complete that, and well, let's move that to the top to make sure it's fully researched. No, top. There we go. Almost done. Okay, there we go. Infantry support weapons, which, though, of course, now we're going to need to come over here. Do that. And mass events have advanced. So let's stop that. And industrial efficiency. No, that. Construction. No. Oh, it is. No, that's okay. Well, that we got done, but it's not what's. This is what I was looking. Infantry support. Didn't we stop infantry support weapons this time? No, we didn't. Okay. Thought we did. Yes, light infantry branch now. No, no. No. Have until I think it's the 26th still, but I want to see if it's been readjusted. Monumental architecture. Well, now it's the 25th. Broadcasting's on the 5th. We're gonna try to hit all those all at once. Okay. Edmund Schussness wants to meet with Hitler. We'll do this. Okay, oil refining advance. Very good. That will help out, obviously, the oil. And that is also one we need to stop. Let's see if we can get it right this time. Okay, well, let's come over here because you know I'm a, infrastructure. So we're going to do this guy, because that's the main one we're doing there. It's now this year. Okay, so now, again, this is the same thing as previous year. See all the participants' flags. Sort of the winter, non-Olympic, but winter sports thing, European base. So, yay, we have winter games. No, we are not spending money. The Blomberg Fritsch affair. Now this is interesting in multiple ways. Blomberg was not a Nazi, and this again goes back to the Nazis were a racist occultist belief system. Blomberg wasn't. He was a nationalist. He was an authoritarian, to the best of my understanding. Maybe wanting the Kaiser back as a constitutional monarch. I don't, or something like that. I don't know the details of his politics, but he was on the right wing of German politics, and he very much agreed with and liked that Hitler was rearming Germany and in a big way. He liked that. He supported Hitler in that. And he supported Hitler in cracking down on communists and other massive, disruptions to Germany. He liked the idea of trying to build a reorganized society. And so he supported all of that. But he wasn't a Nazi. And he was the guy who ran the armed forces. It's almost the idea of a separate state. And this goes back to the old sort of Prussian, this is my understanding of the old sort of Prussian system, in that you had a civil state and you had a military state. And they were sort of coexisted within the same geographical area. And they, under Frederick the Great and the Hohenzollern monarchs, ran both of these two systems. And the civil state did not control the military state. It isn't like in America, which has the military under the civil authority, civil command. No, the military is under its own command. Now, if you look back in the idea of Frederick the Great, he was not just the king, he was the military leader. He was expected to actually lead the armed forces. Now, by the time you get to, what is it, Wilhelm II, beginning of World War I, he does like to think of himself as a great military leader, but he's no Frederick the Great. Almost nobody is. And so you have more professionalized militaries, but you still sort of have this military state. And the military state is sort of its own reason of existence. It's not there to protect Germany or earlier Prussia. It was the reason for existence. The military was the Prussian state was there to support the military. So it's a sort of independent, if you will, and I hope I'm explaining it well. And so that's what this is. Now, this is sort of the last of this sort of Prussian state. You had before, obviously, the Kaiser was in charge of it, so the prime minister didn't control, under the Kaiser, didn't control the army. The army went, instead of through the prime minister to whoever the queen or some king or queen or whatever, it goes its own sort of path. And a lot of the officer corps and the old sort of corps of the army, enlisted people, really respected this system. Now, Hitler, from the day he gets in power, is terrified, and I don't think I'm misusing that word, terrified of this, and that this may, if you will, launch a coup against him, because he does believe, and I think very rightly, that the nation would support an army move against the National Socialists if they went that way. Enough would. And if you don't necessarily have to conquer all of Germany, you just have to skillfully move in and secure basically specific people, Hitler, Goering, Hess, and the top leadership, and have some quick street battles. So the large number of SA may not be the big factor here. But Hitler is terrified of this. He starts to lose his terror in 1935 once they start doing conscription, because now he sees it, instead of a professional army that has people who want to be soldiers, you're just now being conscripted into the army for a time being, and there's lots of SA men being conscripted into the army. Your membership in the SA does not keep you from going into the army, where it sort of, I think, does with the SS. But with the army, it doesn't. Or with the SA, it doesn't. So now you're starting to get National Socialists, not just a few generals here and there that are supporters of National Socialists, and a few officers and a few enlisted men, but most of them weren't. They were sort of, well, the National Socialists are better than these commies, and they have spine, unlike the Socialists. They're going to rearm. So they weren't seen. They were sympathetic to the National Socialists, but they weren't National Socialists for the most part. A few were, very few were. At least at this early stage. Again, like I was saying in another episode, I highly recommend Babylon Berlin. Great series. And the main character at one point, because they're dealing with and I won't give any major plot points away here, but they're dealing with the Soviet embassy and an ambassador in Germany, in Weimar Republic. And this main character is asked by the Soviet ambassador, because they're trying to get some information from the Soviets about somebody. Again, I won't go into it. He asks him, and the people are government officials. Aren't you loyal to your government, your state, or whatever? Words to that effect. He says, and the guy says, the main character, I'm loyal to the police. And so he saw himself as loyal to the tribe of the police. And so whatever the police were doing, he was going to support his police comrades in this time of chaos, in this situation. And the guy is a former, and you see it from the beginning, as most people were, a veteran of World War I, not necessarily a professional soldier, but just a veteran. So he was a veteran and a soldier. But he wasn't thinking of himself as even wanting to be, at least not in the series, as being a military person. He wanted to be a police officer, and he's, you know, a sort of an inspector, sort of, you know, plainclothes, high grade kind of guy within it. From the upper classes, is sort of make some comments about that from his background. But so he's loyal to the police, and so you want me to go arrest whoever within the government? Sure, I'll go arrest them. Now it's up to the judiciary, and you'll find out into the rest of the government if you're charged or convicted or whatever. But when you're just talking about he's loyal to the police, so you have this sort of within authorities within Germany at the time. A lot of these people they're loyal to the army. Once you start getting in mass conscription, Hitler starts feeling much more comfortable, because now you get a lot of people, at least Hitler perceives, are loyal to National Socialism. And this is more and more true as time goes on. It never is fully gone away, because we see towards the end a lot of leading figures finally coming out with the von Stauffenberg assassination plots. So they're finally going, yeah, no, we're loyal to the army. We're going to take down this madman Hitler and see what we can do after that point. Now, obviously, that's too late. And there were people earlier on, including some in 1938, that were, over the Czechoslovakia situation, were trying to see about, if a war breaks out, we may do a coup, that kind of thing. And so there was definitely elements of that going along in different stages, but it never fully goes away. But it definitely diminishes now. So what this affair is earlier on we had the Horsbach memorandum with the idea that we're going to move east. Well, I don't think these two generals, Blomberg or Fritsch, really want to go and have another world war. They want to have a well-armed Germany to defend itself. Oh, they might want to get their territory back. They might want to, you know, get Austria back, but get it part of the German nation. They're not disagreeing with some of that stuff, and they're not definitely want to have a strong Hitler's or a strong military. So long as that's the plan, they're on board. The upper level Nazis know this, and they know they got to get rid of these guys, even though both of them are sympathetic to Hitler and the Nazis. These aren't enemies doing stuff. So also, which showed under the Weimar period, prostitution is completely legal, but you have to register with the police. And I do know that periodically, I don't know whether it's every 2 weeks, once a month, whatever, you have to get tested for venereal disease. If you have it, you can no longer be a prostitute. So they regulate prostitution, but you have to register with the police. And so Blomberg, I don't know exactly, but is an older man, marries a younger wife, and she, what does it say here, resigned, is posed for pornographic photographs. There's maybe some talk that the photographer was Jewish, and sort of the idea is some of the, I don't know what the photographs were, that she may have had sex with him, but this was sort of and I don't know that he didn't know this, but you know, they didn't have the internet back then, so you know, having some photos doesn't necessarily, you know, do much unless you're willing to publish them and have newspapers that are willing to publish them. So they want to get rid of Blomberg, and I believe that's Fritsch here. And Fritsch, he's the guy that would definitely take over. Sort of the plan is sort of assistant, or we can see, I think here, I've changed this guy because this guy has the production practical display, which are decay, so as you're building buildings, they don't the practicals don't decay too fast. That's why I use him there. Fritsch isn't here. Maybe he's already going to disappear or something. Chief of staff. Oh yeah, here we have Fritsch in here as chief of staff. Blomberg, I know. Okay, is he also over here? No. They have him as armaments minister for some reason. I don't get that. Not that he couldn't be. I would have him, you know, sort of in charge of that. Yeah, Verna. You have him over here. Not bad, but we got much better options. Somebody has an arrest record who has a very similar name as Fritsch, who was arrested for like homosexual prostitution or something. It's not him. It's somebody else, or somebody who's arrested who whatever. And it's very similar name, and so Reinhard Hardrick prepares a file with allegations of this based upon this very real document, but referring to another person, and is threatening to make it public. So they want to get people loyal to National Socialist or more compliant, and I would say Brauhitsch is compliant. He's not so much loyal, he's just thought to be compliant to do that. So we can do that, or we can let them stay. We'll get a big hit in dissent and lose organization and popularity. That's showing that we're allowing non-National Socialist stuff too. So we're going to do this stuff. We are going to get some dissent, of course, because we just disrupted the army, and because enough people within the army sort of know what's going on, and people just see the resignation as sort of surprising and disrupting to things. So it's clearing the way for Hitler's ambitions, because he very much wants to do that. Okay, more U-boats. Drop these guys out here. No, we're not going to have an old guard in charge of some U-boats. Let's find this guy and attach him to the Fuhrer U-boat. And now we got our first graded infantry division. May end up getting pulled away very rapidly, but let's put that over here. No, not Manstein. Let's promote Manstein up. Just save him from having to keep saying no to him for him. There we go. That's a decent ship. Capability there, person. So yes, we are well on our way of producing non-ICs now. So we're going to keep up some of these going forward. Submarine classes advanced. I think this is the general one. Okay, let's do coastal submarines. Get those up there. No, till February 25th or so, no buying of other things. Okay, ground crew training has advanced. Good. Attack ground crew training, that is. Okay, so we attack ground crew training. Now let's keep on this. Let's improve. Go over to fighter training. Okay, we are, well, let's do two things here. Okay, we are coming along with officers. Okay, yeah, I was going to put more, but we got plenty in research, so let's, yeah, that's good. Let's add more to the officers, because we'd rather have a bigger pool than a smaller one. And since we have a lot of leadership, let's see who the U.S. Let's go spy on the. Oh, well, we're not even spying on the UK. Let's go after the UK. See if we can steal some technology. And we lost that. Just let it pause, let it do its thing. It's really interesting because I have read, I have watched, you know, documentaries and things, and then to be able to watch good movies, miniseries, and other things, and watch them because I can see enough in it that matches to what I know of the history, and since they seem to be doing a good job, I can learn a little bit more views, because like that Babylon Berlin thing, they do at one point arrest a German military figure, and who you'd previously met in the thing, and so the sort of main viewpoint character didn't arrest the guy, but is there interviewing him. But when he's brought in, oh, hello to the guy, and you're just doing your duty, I understand. So he's not up. There's another guy in the police guy. He's sort of in the room. So he's not upset at this guy who's had him arrested, because he sees him as, it's your duty. You're a police officer. You're doing your duty. You're going to interview me. I'm going to do my role. You're doing your role. I'm not, you know, because there's not a major relationship, but a bit of a relationship between this other guy. So it's just like, yeah, it's sort of authority and doing that kind of stuff. So you sort of kind of see the roles of what their viewpoints, and supposedly the book that the miniseries is based upon was really well researched. It's fiction. It's not a history book. It's fiction. There's definitely some very fictional elements of it, but the general viewpoints and that kind of stuff are supposedly really good. Okay, so Oberkommando der Wehrmacht, okay, General Staff, right? We're setting that up. So there's a little bit. And we're still increasing all of our ICs. Steel production is advanced and coal processing. Good. Got that? It'll free up a couple of research slots. Well, yeah, let's do radio so we can get doing that radio. Airplane radios. And let's come up for light bombers. To be that going red. Yeah, we'll cancel that. Okay, Field Marshal Goering. Hermann Goering was promoted to the rank of Field Marshal. Okay, this is very key. At this point now, he's already been command of the Luftwaffe, but he is now promoted to a Field Marshal. He's not Reich Marshal. He's just Field Marshal at this point. So we're keeping Goering happy. We're promoting him up. He gets this nice baton. This is his Field Marshal baton. He has a later Reich Marshal baton. This is his Field Marshal baton. And this is the staff car. I mean, you would clip it here and clip it there. Flag for him as a Field Marshal of the Luftwaffe. So we're keeping Goering happy. And he's getting his promotion. And it's establishing, we can do a lot of stuff here. So let's RKW and this. So ROKW and reorganize the command structure here. So we're moving all of those, and we're going to get more. Or we're going to get a replacement here, I think, already. Means I'll have to do some reorganizing off camera. Okay, broadcasting advanced. That's good. We've been waiting for that. We're going to stop that research. Let's come down here and look down here. These are already done. Well, let's come up actually and get that one. Well, let's do Air Force HQ. Oh, did we get Air Force HQ? Okay, 1939. We're going to stop that for the moment. Now with this one, let's see. We'll do mountain. And that. So, some more Flieger Corps type units. That is good. No, we're building up money. Another 20 days or so, we're going to build up money now. I need a lot more units here. Okay. Flieger Corps. We'll call this B. And who do we want to put in charge of it? Let's come down to our Luftwaffe command. Let's see if we can find a bomber. I know it really doesn't matter. But just for immersion's sake. I've already passed a couple of options. Yeah, we'll give it to this guy. Oh, we need to demote him. And no, not that version, that command, because it's a different under the setup. This is the no look commando, I think. Setup that we have to sort of set things up. And this he's also here, so let's bomber C. Gonna have attack separate or something? No. Let's just spell this C. Well, let's spell it this way. Oh, so let's give a this guy. Oh, no, long way. Let's move him up to here. And also, let's all those. Oh, here. Yeah, so we got. No, that's not what I was. No, this is new. Yeah, this is the new OKW. Well, we got this here, the Wehrmacht thing that's sort of kind of using that headquarters symbol, OKW. So I want to put him under that as a overall commander there. I don't know what really I should do with these guys. These are sort of administrative commands, but that's confusing because this is really under this, but this has, you know, a maximum of 5 subcommands, and this is sort of No, sorry. This is sort of over this. So, but it's sort of screwy. I don't know exactly what. Because it goes the Oberkommando der Wehrmacht, which has the Army, Navy, and Air Force under it. So it's sort of confusing. But okay, so at this point, we're going to end the episode. I want to thank everyone for watching. I want to thank you for liking, and if you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel. Love to see you around more often. And been getting a few comments, and some of the people haven't been maybe getting their notices right away, or notices sent at all upon things, and that sort of YouTube. So hey, I wouldn't mind you giving me feedback just so I know what's going on with you guys. So check if you want to be noticed. Give the notice. Hit that little bell symbol. If you don't want to be, because sometimes I'm posting a lot of stuff or whatever, don't do it. I don't want to bother you, and you guys can, you can show up when when you want to watch it. Just whatever. But sometimes I'm going live on Twitch, and I'll put a notice on YouTube, so you should get notice that there's something new there. And if you go and look and then see that, will be a link to Twitch. Of course, you can also hook up for live notice on Twitch setups as well. But just however you want to do it. But so just keep that in mind so that you know what's going on. And of course, I love to hear comments posted, so please post questions, suggestions, comments, corrections. See you next time for more Hearts of Iron.